Vietnam to heal civilians injured by U.S. bombs. He was a Vietnam War draft resister who served 16 and a half months in federal prison for refusing to cooperate with the conscription system. Later in life, he became active in the labor movement, working for 20 years in the reform movement within the Teamsters Union. He helped organize the 1997 National UPS strike, which created 10,000 new full-time jobs. He served as co-president of the local American Federation of Teachers when he was a professor at the Community College of Philadelphia. Always a link between peace, justice, and labor movements. Our presenter was a founding member of U.S. Labor Against the War, Philadelphia Jobs with Justice, and he helped to build the Labor Network for Sustainability. He's been an outspoken opponent of Israel's U.S.-funded war in Gaza, and today we welcome him back to Chestnut Street and the Friday Peace Vigil. Please give a warm welcome to John Braxton.
Thank you so much. It is so great to be here with all of you today. You might be able to tell I'm recovering from a cold, so my voice is a little bit hoarse, but I'm glad we have this microphone here, and I'm looking forward to sharing some thoughts with you. I want to just thank you so much for coming out here week after week after week. It's so impressive that you do that, and so important that you do that. It's that kind of persistence that we're going to need in order to turn this country around. Some of us thought that when Fetterman backed Bernie Sanders for president back in 2016, that Fetterman would be the kind of senator who would support a progressive agenda. When he ran for senator, he no longer used progressive phrases, but instead vague statements like, well, I won't be like Joe Manchin. That's a pretty low bar to cross over. Some of us said, well, okay, he's trying to reach centrist voters, but after all, he did back Bernie, so he's just, kind of trying to get the votes that he needs to get. But we were so wrong, and I was so wrong in that regard. I voted for him, I'm not sorry I didn't vote for the other guy, but I'm very sorry with how this turned out. He has demonstrated that he has no principles that actually guide his thinking. And you're keeping the pressure on him, may or may not change his policies, but it certainly tarnishes his image and helps to diminish his chances of re-election. Then we're going to have to hope that somebody with progressive ideas can actually step up and win the Democratic nomination the next time around.
Maybe you, John.
That's a nice thought, but I think I'm a little old for that. Connor Lamb is already looking like he's running for something, but he's not a progressive in any sense. So we have to look for people like Malcolm Kenyatta, Summer Lee, Elizabeth Fiedler, Nikhil Saval. I don't know. We got to start talking to them so that we've actually got a real choice in front of us. And this raises to me the big question, how do we turn the U.S. into a nation that stands for peace and justice? Wow, what a tall order. I certainly don't claim to have all the answers, but I do think the broad outlines of a strategy are clear, and I think we need to discuss this long-range strategy, even if the picture is extremely murky. Let's be very clear, the U.S. does not stand for peace and justice today anywhere. I don't think I had to convince any of you of that. Certainly not our total support for Israel's genocide in Gaza, continued expansion in Palestine's West Bank territories. In Venezuela, the U.S. is blatantly assassinating people in small boats with no evidence of any violations by the people in the boat, much less a real trial. It looks like the Trump administration is trying to provoke a defensive response by Venezuela in order to justify yet another invasion. We've seen this so many times before. In 1964, the U.S., led by Democratic President Lyndon Johnson claimed there was an unprovoked attack on a U.S. ship in the Tonkin Gulf and used that excuse to get Congress to vote overwhelmingly in favor of using military force. Millions of Vietnamese died, as well as hundreds of thousands of Cambodians, Laotians, and nearly 60,000 U.S. citizens. In 2001, the U.S. invaded Afghanistan, ostensibly to wipe out al-Qaeda, but not only did the U.S. fail in that narrow objective, but failed colossally in its attempt to overthrow the Taliban. Roughly 175,000 Afghani people and more than 4,000 USers died as a result. There's no justification for this. In 2003, the U.S. invaded Iraq, claiming weapons of mass destruction, when there was no evidence in advance, and it was proved afterwards that those weapons didn't exist. Hundreds of thousands of Iraqis died due to the U.S. invasion. So this is a pattern that goes on and on and on, and there's so many more examples that we could give of this. I'm not really trying to depress you. It could be depressing, but I think we have to look at this. We have to look at the reality of what the history is of the U.S. and that it's ongoing today. The U.S. currently has between 700 and 800 military bases in 80 nations outside of our borders. There's no way to have all of this information and fail to describe the role of the U.S. since World War II as anything but imperialism. We are an empire.
Right.
As the U.S. loses our global economic dominance, both parties are fully in support of maintaining our military dominance. And so our long-range job has to be to dismantle the U.S. empire. I don't say that lightly or with any confidence that we can succeed, but we surely won't succeed in stopping future wars unless we recognize this pattern, that it's the U.S. empire that's primarily responsible for the major wars since World War II.
Yes.
As Martin Luther King said, the United States is the largest purveyor of violence on earth. And unfortunately, our taxes are paying for that. So where is there hope? It's hard to come by these days. But I take hope in the possibility that the overwhelming majority of people of the U.S. are not benefiting from the current state of affairs. They are certainly not benefiting from Trump's dismantling of Medicare, the Veterans Administration, his bashing of unions, and they don't benefit from the war machine. It's working people that pay the taxes. It's working people that fight these wars. And I think that more and more USers, notice I don't like to use the term Americans because that actually rules out all of Central and South America and Canada, who also are Americans. Notice that the term American ignores all that. I think that more USers can come to realize that the military business class that needlessly killed tens of thousands in U.S. wars since World War II is the same class that's cutting food stamps, attempting to crush unions, destroying the climate, and making themselves vastly wealthier at our expense. So what we have to do is build a broad coalition that fights for basic economic security, for climate justice, and for dismantling of the war machine. As Martin Luther King put it, we must see now that the evils of racism, economic exploitation, and militarism are all tied together. And you can't get rid of one without getting rid of the others.
Yes.
And today, we would add climate change to that list. That means we have to fight alongside of the federal employees who are being laid off, some of whom are working for the Department of Defense. We have to fight for Medicare for all, for free public colleges, free trade schools. We have to unite with the climate justice movement. We have to dismantle the military-industrial complex. We have to create a system that bases its decisions on the real needs of human beings, including sustainable climate, not based on corporate profit. I want to give one example of one aspect of building a broad coalition looks like. In 2003, Congressman Barbara Lee, in 20 plus others co-sponsored a bill called the People Over the Pentagon Act. It would cut the Pentagon spending by $100 billion, 100 billion with a B, which is only 11% of the Pentagon budget. It would do that without cutting the pay of any military personnel or the benefits of any veterans. Right, and that right there, that's an important step in building our coalition. The soldiers and veterans are not the cause of our problems. It's the people who make the decisions that send them all these places around the world who are the cause. They are our potential allies. So a new version of the People Over the Pentagon Act is about to be introduced. It's probably going to have to cut the Pentagon budget by even a bigger number because Trump just increased the Pentagon budget by $150 billion. Some of us with experience in the labor movement are working with Veterans for Peace to build labor support for this bill. And we are hoping to convince the makers of the bill to include a provision for just transition for any workers whose jobs might be impacted by cuts to Pentagon spending. So those workers in the so-called defense industries, I don't like to use that word, those workers are also potential allies for us. We are meeting with some initial success. 71 labor organizations representing 588,000 union members have endorsed the People Over the Pentagon Act. It's a nice start. Go ask me. In the process, we are helping the labor movement to think about questions like, do I want half of my discretionary taxes to go to the Pentagon?
No.
Good point. Why has the Pentagon never passed an audit, failing 7 in a row? If the U.S. spends more money on its military than the next 9 or 10 nations combined, who is benefiting from that?
Nobody.
If half of the money for so-called defense goes to profit-greedy corporations, who are we really defending? Does defending an overseas corporate empire really help working-class people here?
No.
How many teachers could we hire? How many solar panels could we install? How many green jobs could we create if we use that $100 billion wisely for human beings? We have a long way to go to get the labor movement fully behind this campaign, but there are signs of hope. Unions representing a majority of unionized workers are calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. That's a huge turnaround in the labor movement. The labor movement has never made that kind of decision before. And a slightly smaller number of large national unions are calling for an end to the funding of Israel's genocide. That's also a huge step in the right direction. We just need to get more unions buying into it. And many in the climate movement are realizing that the Pentagon is the largest single producer of greenhouse gases. So there's a link between the peace movement and the climate justice movement and the labor movement. So I think this is an example of the kinds of work that we must do. We have to break out of the narrow confines of the peace movement, the labor movement, the climate movement, and build one giant movement for peace, justice, and sustainability. So, thank you. I want to try something that's an experiment for me. There's a really great sort of song chant. Anybody heard of Uncle Devlin? I didn't either until I ran across this song and chant that he put together. It's got a chorus that repeats and other lines that repeat. So I want to try it with you. This is a world premiere for me. And the chorus goes like this. Hey Congress, we demand from you, move the money. And the president needs to hear this too, move the money. Both parties playing like the fool, move the money. We want to feed the people, yes we do, move the money. We got the students, the teachers, the pre-K, the seniors. The budgets are cut, so teachers are leaving. The music and art, the students, they want it, but just like free lunch, the politicians, they cut it. So Congress can give money for war that makes the rich richer and increasing the poor. Don't you dare laugh, because it's not funny. We have to organize to move the money.
Move the money.
Hey, Congress, we demand from you, move the money. And the president needs to hear this too, move the money. Both parties playing us like the fool, move the money. We want to feed the people, yes we do, move the money. More cuts to health care, housing and food. Society is crumbling, becoming unglued. Carjackings, drive-bys, and even mass shootings. We can do a lot to change. Who are we fooling? Invest in programs like health and nutrition. No more military bases, guns and ammunition. No money for housing. It makes us feel crummy. We must all unite to move the money. Hey, Congress, we demand from you, move the money. And the president needs to hear this too, move the money. Both parties playing us like the fool, move the money. We want to feed the people, yes we do, move the money. There's 750 military bases in over 80 countries. That's a lot of places. The U.S. is the #1 supplier of guns. They ended up our streets, killing our daughters and our sons. Both parties increased the Pentagon budget, who never ever in their history even passed an audit. They can't even say ceasefire. How cruddy. So it's up to us to make them move the money. Hey, Congress, we demand from you, move the money. And the president needs to hear this too, move the money. Both parties playing us like the fool, move the money. We want to feed the people, yes we do, move the money. We need gun control at the Pentagon. 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 Hey, we've got to move that money. 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 Thank you very much.